Hello and welcome. This is a quick presentation about water sensitive cities, cities of the future. What cities do we want to see in the future, and what cities do we want to live in the future? This is a machinima simulation virtual world using Anno 2070 and Ubisoft 2011 release, I think it was. And yes, my background is in ergonomics, IT and human factors, as well as computer games design. And I just think that there is something to be gained from the visualization potential from computer games such as SimCity, City Skyline, and this one, Anno 2070. This is a ludicrously complicated game that involves 30 different resources to manage, massive supply chains and logistical problems, but it's extremely satisfying once you actually conquer it. You can spin those 100 different plates. You can end up with a lovely tapestry of urban design, which is quite pleasing. So you can choose between ecos, tycoons, corporates and techie people, and eventually if you progress enough in one area you can branch out to the others. It's all to do with balance. Corporations have their place, but they should not be at the heart of government. It's probably the same with everything else. Aristotle's golden mean: you've got to keep things in balance. You do things out of kilter, it's no good. So we have renewable energy, we have wind farms in the background, we have a solar farm in the background, we have a hydro power in the background leading into sewage management, leading into a water mill where you can use that energy to grind wheat and products like that. We've got all sorts of other things going on. We've got stormwater management, capture, we've got flower beds to help filtrate the pollution and stormwater. I'd like to be seeing a bit more flood resilience from these things. They should all be on stilts, really, just in case they've been flooded. Floods aren't done very well in many games, really. It's a shame, but floods and droughts would be good. Trees just been chopped down in the background. That's my automated tree chopper, which is combined with a automatic planter, so a renewable cycle again. Trees need to be managed. There's nothing evil in cutting down a tree as long as it's done in a renewable and sensitive way, intelligent way. Renewables for the win. Anything else? Forward a little bit. So I'm quite proud of the solar. That took a long time to get together. Little solar thing. There's the tree chopper. So something I think we want to do something a little bit less aggressive. It's not exactly an area you could play football in. That thing going around chopping things. So if we zoom out, this is one of the cities, and then I'll zoom out even more. That's up here. The whole continent. It's 100 different trading routes. I wish they had it. Obviously, it was automated and you didn't have to manually set it all up. It's like spinning 100 different places. Quite annoying. And I wish they had a DLC, downloadable content, that was the maps of the world. And you could use proper maps. That would have a bit more educational use, a bit more interesting, relevant, accurate geographical maps. So that's just a randomly generated place. And over on the top right, I've got my oil. I needed it for some of the technology. What can I say? They tend to blow up. Got to be very careful with this stuff. Catch it early, preventative maintenance. I've got all sorts of emergency organisational plans to try and reduce the risk of of them blowing up, the settings are on high chance of them blowing up. I'm running a small deficit, but a high overall surplus, trade surplus, so it keeps going up and up and up, the income, which is great. It took a long time for me to get into that situation of economic balance and progression and growth. Jumping down, underwater cities, cities of the future could involve water cities. This could be a good idea to do this anyway as a research. I think NASA should be doing this sort of thing just to experiment. If they're going to colonize Mars or the Moon, they should start by setting up a colony in the water. I think it'd be very helpful as a research tool. I think people would quite like to have a go at doing that, although obviously living under pressure can be quite problematic, especially coming back out to normal pressure. So underwater cities, let's get out, and initially you start with the arc, which is this little thing here. So spin round. So you start with your arc. It's a kind of floating city. I think floating cities have potential. See Vietnam and the floating villages on stilts and things, boats. I've got a Zeppelin in the background that's going around filtering the air, trying to get rid of some of the toxins in the air. It decided to save itself, which is fair enough. And I just think there is potential here. I'm not sure I'm explaining it as clearly as I should be, but there is potential here for really interesting visualization of what kind of future cities we want to live in, and the potential to think of various different ways of doing things. One example that's not done very well in this game, or implemented in this game, is smart tunnels, where you have multi-purpose tunnels. You have transportation in the tunnel, but it can be closed and just be used for stormwater management. You can have stormwater management underneath buildings so that they can catch the water and then release it slowly over time, rather than having it all just wash across the concrete straight into the rivers and flood cities. Flood management and resilience, and drought management and resilience. And we really, I think, especially in the UK, got to do something about this, because we're building more and more on floodplains, less and less reservoirs. Something's got to give. We have times of drought, times of floods. We need to start designing a bit more intelligently to deal with these things. One of the problems with hydroelectric and water storage is that you can end up in hot countries or hot climates. You can end up with a huge evaporation loss. So that is a thing people need to consider. But personally, I'm a great fan of hydroelectric as a potential solution. So if you've got anything positive to say, please do. Please keep it constructive. And if I can think of anything else, I'll put it in another video. See ya.